Well, we're gonna go ahead and get started. We'll start off easy today to give everybody a minute to catch up in case they didn't get the password email. So let's actually lay down today. So you can lay down on your back, and let's start with knees bent, just to flatten out the back a little bit. So we're laying kind of flush to the floor. And if you don't want to lay down because of whatever you're doing at home, then just get in a seated position where your back is supported. So if you have something nearby where you can sit in a chair where your back is being supported, then maybe get up to a chair, or just laying on the ground, hips and knees bent will be good. Taking a few deep breaths. Letting your belly press to the ceiling as you inhale. Trying not to wish evil, mean things on the people over at Zoom for messing us up here. Try to feel your lower back relax and sink down into the mat. We're going to take the hands and place them off to the side. So palms down on the floor. Just opening gently through the chest. I don't have my arms way out to the side. I'm just like 45 degrees here. Little breath in, and then we're going to exhale. Just drop the knees to one side and hold. Breathe in, draw the knees through the center, exhale the knees to the other side. And again, breathe in, draw the knees through the center, exhale, drop the knees to the other side. So big stretch through the side of the hips and the low back. And I'm kind of keeping my hips pretty close to the mat. I'm not like turning my hips a whole bunch, just a little lift. So just kind of listen to what your body's saying today. It's Monday, so hopefully your weekend wasn't too physically strenuous. But if it was, see what's up with your body and adjust accordingly. Inhale through the center, exhale, knees off to the side. Awesome, bring the knees straight up and down again. We're gonna inhale, pull the knees up toward the chest, little hug. Big breath in, you can exhale and either place your arms overhead or off to the side, depending on how your shoulders feel. Remember, you don't have to put your arms up if your shoulders are bugging you. Couple of breaths. So out here would be good. Out here to the side is in a T position if your shoulders are bugging you. Again, we're gonna inhale, knees up to the chest, hugging nice and tight. In case no one's hugged you today, you can hug yourself. Big breath in, exhale, arms up, legs out. Awesome, we're gonna bring the arms in. Let's flip on over on the mat. Angle myself a little bit here. So onto your belly, you can stack your hands, rest your forehead on your hands, and relax through your low back for a sec. And we're gonna inhale, let's draw the elbows in, forearms down on the mat, little Sphinx pose, so shoulders down. And your head can remain neutral, so you don't have to lift up. Just let your eyes look toward the front of your mat or maybe between your hands. And we're getting the feeling of tucking the chin in, so like you're trying to give yourself a double chin. Or if you're blessed with a double chin, with a triple chin. Triple chin. Big breath in, let's exhale, drop the body down to the mat. So now we're going to get into the front of the quad. So let's go ahead and bend the knee. We're trying to bring your heel as close to your butt as you can. If you want to just hold here, that's good. Or you can reach that hand back, try to grab hold of your ankle or your foot. And we're trying to keep this pressure down into the ground. So if you can't get this heel really close to your butt without lifting your butt way off the floor, then maybe just don't bring it as far back. We're trying to sink the front of the hip down into the floor as much as we can. So we're stretching through the whole front of the quad rather than just down at the bottom. So the more your hips are straight, the more of an upper quad stretch you're gonna get. Quads are the front of your thighs. Big breath in, we're gonna exhale. Let's lower that leg down. Let's try on the other side. It's the same thing. We're curling that heel in toward your bottom. We're gonna grab hold if you can. And we're allowing the hips to sink down into the mat. So not pulling so much that your butt comes up. Okay, again, let's lower that leg down. Bring the hand back underneath your head if you need to. Same thing, pulling the other leg up, grabbing hold, couple of breaths. Let that go, bring the hand in, and then same thing. Inhale, pull that heel in, grabbing hold, trying to keep that relaxed feeling in your back. If you're getting kind of tense, because this is not really a fun position, you can maybe let go for a sec, try to relax your back again, and then grab hold when you're ready. Okay, go ahead and let that go. One more time, let's bring the hands in. One more little arch of the spine. So you might feel that you can lift higher this time. Forearms, almost said forehead. Forearms are down on the mat. So I've actually got my whole back lifted up higher now. So a neutral position for me is actually looking out in front of the mat now, whereas before it was more like this. So you might notice that as you do more of this stuff, as we get further throughout the practice today, that you're able to do more of a range of motion. You're able to lift a little higher or whatever. So just kind of take some mental notes on what progress looks like for you. Okay, we're gonna relax that down. Let's bring the body up. We're going to pull the feet underneath us, so knees under the hips. We're gonna tuck the toes under. Let's give it a couple of passes forward and back. So just easy sawing. I don't know what else to call this other than sawing. I guess just gliding your spine forward and back. Staying as parallel to the ground as you can, except for when you come forward, obviously. Just warming up through those joints. Remember, settling back only as far as is comfortable for you. Same thing with going forward, not overstressing the wrists, especially if they're bothering you. Let's give it 2 more passes. So noticing which areas are a little sticky for you, which areas you might need to focus on your own. Because I know you guys are doing this on your own, right? All right, so we're gonna try to settle back as far as you can with toes still tucked under like mine are. It could be here, it could be all the way down, whatever. Just take a few breaths, maybe like 3 deep breaths down on your heels. You know, if you can, we're gonna bring it forward, keep those toes curled under, pick it up into downward dog. Hips are gonna go back. Relax through the heels. Take 3 more deep breaths. My mat is slipping. All right, then we're gonna walk the feet forward, walk the hands back, take your time. We're gonna end up with feet about a shoulder width wide and hands are going down toward the toes. We're gonna relax through the spine for a sec. Now, if you got too much blood rushing to your head and you need to come up for a sec, that's fine. No point in passing out. That's kind of not the point. Inhale, let's draw up for a second anyway. So hands are gonna come up on the top of the knees, so lower part of the thighs. Back is nice and flat. Just take a few breaths. Big breath in, exhale down, relaxing again. Okay, the knees are gonna go forward, hips forward. Let's go ahead and circle those arms around and up. Hair out of the face, reaching back. Oh, I'm gonna scooch, y'all can't see me. Big stretch back, you can circle those arms down. We're gonna send the hips to the rear, settle the hands down on the lower part of the thighs, the tops of the knees, stretching out through the spine for a sec. Big breath in, exhale, relax the rest of the way down. While you're here, you can question the meaning of life or question why you have bruises on your legs that you don't know how they got there. You know, it's like a mystery. How do these bruises get on your legs? You don't know. Okay, you're gonna inhale, knees forward, hips forward, hands are gonna circle up and back. Hands are reaching back. And we're gonna relax those hands down. Very good. Okie dokie. So let's go wide on the mat. I'm gonna fix this again. I'm sideways because I got a live going over here and I don't want to look at my butt. All right, feet nice and wide. And we're going to start by turning one foot out to the side. So one foot's facing forward, other leg off to the side. We're gonna level out the hips. So start with hips and shoulders, like making a big rectangle. Big breath in. We're gonna exhale it forward over that front leg. So your knee should end up over your ankle. Little stretch here on the inside of the thigh. And then we're going to do the fancy part and bring our hands up. So once again, don't let your arms start to close forward. Instead, pull open. So pull those pinkies back. Couple more breaths. Okay, so we're gonna straighten up that leg. Let's drop the front hand down, bring the back hand up. If you can, maybe don't go all the way down toward your ankle because we just did a whole bunch of bending over stuff. Instead, go just below your knee. So kind of an easy side bend, easy-ish. And then we're gonna do a little funky transition here. We're gonna take that knee and bend it again, and then take your forearm and drop it on top of the knee. So now the stretch is gonna get a bit deeper here on the inside of your thigh. I'm trying not to fall over. Awesome, so we're gonna bring that up, bring the body up for a sec. Now we're gonna turn a little bit toward that front leg. So rather than staying sideways, let's actually turn to face the foot that's turned away. We're gonna try to reach down toward that foot with the opposite hand. So I'm just gonna get mid-shin here. And then your other hand can kind of go off to the side. So my hand is over here behind me. If you were super fancy, you could try to turn, but I'm not fancy, so I can't do that. Couple more breaths. All right, let's bring that hand down. Go ahead and inhale and draw up. All right, we're gonna bring the feet in for a sec and give the hips a little bit of motion here because that was a whole bunch of stuff back to back there. So remember, you're always more than able to send me any problem areas that you guys are dealing with. I tend to do like general hips, back, and shoulders. That's usually what I try to focus the mobility part of the sessions on. So if you have other areas that you need worked on for some reason, make sure you let me know, because I can't read your mind. Okay, so feet nice and wide. We're gonna turn the other foot out this time. And we're starting the same way in a warrior pose. So we're going to flatten out the hips. So hips and shoulders nice and square. And we're gonna settle that weight forward over the front leg. So notice I'm trying to keep my shin as perpendicular to the ground as possible. So none of this, nothing back there, right over my ankle. So just starting to open up here on the inside of that thigh. And we're gonna take those hands up and place them on top of the bubbles. So hands are gonna be here, not caving in the front. Instead, we're opening up through the chest, pushing those pinkies back. Nice and open. Couple more breaths. We're still keeping that chest up nice and tall. Now we're going to start to straighten through that front leg. We're going to send the front hand down just below the knee. Other hand comes up toward the ceiling. So everybody might experience these poses differently. I always get big stretch here on the side of my back and into my hip with this one. You might actually feel it more down in here. Just kind of depends on what your body needs. It will tell you. Don't get confused, because when your body tells you that you need a donut or a cupcake, sometimes it's lying. So, you know, listen during yoga, but don't always listen. All right, we're gonna bend the knee. Let's take the forearm, drop it on top of that knee. So now we're getting more of a stretch here on the inside of the thigh. A couple more breaths. Another thing you can do with this is you can feel like you're shifting your hips away from your front knee, and you might feel more of a stretch here as well. Okay, in case the shoulder is getting angry, you can bring that arm down. We're gonna inhale, come on up for a sec, and we're turning as much as we can in the direction of that front foot. So normally I would have you guys separate out your feet so you don't fall over and like bust your face on the ground. If you're not comfortable, you can move your feet a little bit, but I've got it pretty narrow right now. So we're turning toward that front leg. We're shifting the hips back. We're gonna try to reach that backside hand down towards your ankle. So I've got my left leg here and my right hand is reaching down. And then you can reach your other hand out to the side behind you. More breaths. Awesome, we're gonna settle that hand down. Go ahead and bring it on up. All right, bring those feet in. We're gonna settle on down on the mat for a sec, just kind of relaxing through the back. Ooh, so just settle here for a sec. Let's put the hands behind us. Knees bent like we were at the beginning. You can just rock easy side to side. There's a whole lot of lower back and hip stuff. And if your feet do like mine do, when I stand up and do a bunch of yoga poses, my feet get all like weird and like almost like the circulation cuts off to my feet, even though I know that's not what it is. If you want to take a second, massage out through the feet, you can. Or scratch. I feel like I got bit by an ant. All right, we're gonna do one hip flexor stretch before we get into our easy stuff to end out. So you're gonna be on your knees. If you need to grab a pillow or something to put your knees on other than just your mat, you can, or just roll your mat up so it's underneath your knee. So one knee is gonna be behind us. And other foot is gonna be in front. And we're just gonna do a very simple but effective stretch, yeah. Okay, so remember, if you got about a shoulder width of space between your knee and your foot, makes it easier not to fall over. We're gonna start by tucking the hips under, keeping the chest up tall, and just tucking through that back hip. So you should be feeling a few different things. You might feel a stretch on the front of the leg here. You might feel it through the front of your hip flexors. I will sometimes get it like up into the side because your hip flexors, the muscles that lift your leg, actually go all the way up into along your spine. So you might feel something deep in there. If you're feeling numbness or tingling, just back off a little bit. Don't tuck as much because sometimes you can stretch those nerves. That's not exactly what we're going for. Now try to get the feeling like you're pushing hard through both legs. So your front toes are all spread out. You're pushing hard through the floor out of your front leg to prevent yourself from shifting too far forward. And then we've got the feeling like we're actively straightening through the back leg. So we're not just sitting here passively with this leg. Instead, you feel like you're pushing the top of your foot down into the ground. So we're trying to straighten our knee, while we're tucking through our hips. So that gives a bigger, stronger stretch through the front of that leg. 2 more breaths. Okay, we're gonna relax through that hip and let's try on the other side. Okay, so same thing. We've got a shoulder width of space between our front foot and our back heel. And if you need the extra cushion, just fold up your mat or put a pillow underneath your knee. We're starting with the easy stuff. So body up tall. Well, not easy, but simple. Tuck your hips under. So just trying to tuck that hip, put that front muscle on that leg on stretch. And once again, we're being active through those legs. So let's spread out the toes of your front foot. Feel like you're pushing through that front leg a little bit. So it should just be engaged, not like you're gonna push yourself onto your butt, but just a little bit engaged through that leg. And then your back leg should feel like you're actively pushing through the top of your foot. So as if you're trying to actively straighten your knee while you keep those hips tucked. I said, wow. I realize lately I have a big problem with this Southern accent thing. 2 more breaths. All right, and you can relax on down. Very good. Okay, so we're gonna end where we started. So go ahead and lay back on your back. You can bend your knees. Give your legs a break for a sec. So let's just leave those legs there. We're gonna inhale, bring the arms up overhead, or like I said, off to the side if the shoulders are kind of yucky. And just kind of working through some range of motions a little passively. So wherever your arms are starting from, try to let them relax. Make sure they're touching the floor and they're not hurting. We're gonna take one arm and just kind of circle it along this. I'm just like moving everything that's within arm's reach. Okay, so we're gonna move that arm along the side and bring it all the way down, still palm up, bringing it all the way down toward the hip. And then we're just gonna circle it around again. So we're keeping the back of the hand in contact with the floor as long as possible, keeping the arm extended away from your body. And then you're just gonna stop wherever you started from. Now we're gonna repeat on the other side, keeping the arm in contact with the ground. We're circling it around and the palm is going to stay facing up. Bring it all the way around until it comes to your side. I know you can't see this because the camera is on the side of me, but I promise I'm moving my arm. Bringing that arm all the way around until it's up overhead. Or wherever you started from. Okay, so now same thing. We're gonna keep one hand back here on the floor. Other hand is just gonna come up toward the ceiling and then palm all the way down on the mat next to your hip, touching nice and gently. And then still arm extended, it's gonna go up overhead and then back onto the floor wherever you started from. Same thing with the other arm. It's going to go up, reaching toward the ceiling, down toward the floor. So palm is facing down. And then it's coming up again toward the ceiling, all the way back until the back of the arm, hand touches the floor. All right, we're gonna bring those hands down. So we're getting into our last little position here. You can either stay here on your back or roll over if you'd like. Just close your eyes and let's breathe here for a couple of minutes. Someone has a very loud motorcycle outside. So we did start a little bit late, so I am going to cut this part short on my end. But if you want the full benefit of the full 5 minutes like we normally do, I'd encourage you to just kind of hang out where you are for a little bit longer, and I'll handle shutting off the video and all that kind of stuff. But make sure you're giving yourself a chance to breathe like this, whether it's right now or other times throughout the day, and not even just on Mondays and Wednesdays, on your other days too. Just taking 5 minutes just to lay out is actually a really good option, even if you don't go through a lot of yoga. So thank you guys for coming. Sorry about the issue with the password. I did not know it was going to do that to us. So password will always just be yoga. And I will let everyone else know as well. Remember, if you guys have any specific requests, you're welcome to message me. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Bye.